So in this video, what I want to do is share with you the Kessler method. My good friend Ed, got to give him credit for this, showed me this charting method that he uses, and it is surgical. Blew my mind. Couldn't believe how well the price just clings to the Gann boxes. So shout out to him. He's on Telegram, Kessler Syndrome. He's also on Twitter. I don't have his handle, but if you want it, message me, contact me somehow, and I'll get it to you. But all credit goes to him for this method. So without further ado, here it is. I just want to make sure I get it all out and clearly articulated that way. If I ever forget, because I go through a lot of methods, I have this to fall back on as well. So first off, he uses Hike and the She. So with this kind of candles, it smooths out the ups and downs to where all you have is just either it was an up day or a down day. I'm ignoring this right here because for some reason OK Coin Exchange decided Bitcoin was $1 million back around this time. So that's irrelevant to our price action, so I'm going to skip that. I've already made this video once, so everything kind of pans out nicely. I just didn't like the way it sounds because I'm a perfectionist. Anyways, so what we're going to be using here, we have Hike and the She, we have, we're on the daily, so Bitcoin, US dollar, and we're going to go and grab the Gann Square Fixed first, this tool, and what we want to do is we're going to come from a low, a significant low, and go to a significant high. So in this case, let's look at this. The low was 714. 705 right there. So what we're looking for is to set this line right at the top of that bar, and we want to be as accurate as possible because our price action is going to depend upon our Gann lines and how we're setting things. So this is set, so we've set from our low, pull to our high up here, and this line right here, we're trying to match up with this bar, which is the highest. Once this is set, what we're going to do is, and also, usually it's on auto. I can't set it to auto because of that one price move right there with the exchange that it kind of went wonky. But if you slide this up and down, it'll also adjust. It won't for me because it's locked into that level. But set it to where it's touching it exactly. If you need to adjust, you can use that. But once you have the first one set, try to avoid using that and just click on the white space or the black space, whatever this background you have is, to move the stuff around. Okay, so now that we have that set, what we want to do now, move you up here, is we're going to come in and pull and put a Gann box over top of this. So we're going to go from a Gann box, make sure we pull from the same exact spot, and we're going to come up here. So here is a 1x1 box, right? So we have across 1, up 1, so this is one box. We want to do a 3x3. So to make this work, so we're in the 2x2 box. We're going to drag up. That's 2x2 right here. So we're going to go one more box and set it on the 3x3. Another thing is color coding is very important because that way you can keep track of exactly what you're looking at, what cycle that it came from. Was it like the first, Gann box you pulled, or was it from another one? To kind of help you see whenever we're looking further down on the price action. So what I do is, or what he also does, is sets the first box to match this color palette here. This one's too dark, so we go one level up to the bright red and start with that as being 1. Also, before I get too far, the Gann box settings. Look at that right quick. So price levels all checked off, and then we have the background completely removed. Time levels all there, and the one thing you want to do is I just use one color, pull the backgrounds over, and set angles. When you do angles, it adds all the interconnecting angles between all the different price and time levels. So you have that. So now that we have our Gann box set, and we can kind of see here when we look at it, we're already starting to see some price action holding nicely to these Gann lines, right? This Gann box. We got that touch there. We're touching here. It comes in, touches again, fights this, climbs the line. So we're having a lot. That's what we're looking for, is a lot of touches. The more touches, the better. So we're going to go ahead now and remove this squared fixed Gann box, the very first one we laid. So the white lines will disappear. The next thing we want to do is we're going to pull another move. So the first one we did was from this low, significant low to significant high. This time we're going to come back, grab our Gann squared fixed, and pull from the significant high this time. And then we're going to go to the significant low. Now, I have my magnet on, so I have to go over here. And once again, you don't have to be 100% on it, but you want to be as accurate as possible. Like I said, the future pricing, all these lines lay because of how accurate you are with, look at that, because of how accurate you lay this first Gann box, the fixed box. So now that we have that laid, we're going to come back here, grab the Gann box again, and we're going to get that high, and we're going to bring, so this white here to here is 1, so this is the 2 box, and this will be a 3x3 down here. So 3x3, and I try to make this, I want those lines to cover up the white lines. So since this is our second Gann box, I'm going to change the color to orange, and I'm going to kill the first box that we laid. The white lines will disappear. So now we have 2 swings pulled. We have the first significant low to the significant high, from the high to the next significant low, and now we're going to pull the last one, which is from the significant low, or the higher high in this case, but also it's a significant low, and pull to this top one up here. So we're going to go grab the Gann square fixed, and we're looking for the low here. So I see 3121. Oh, I clicked. Let's go find 3121. I saw you somewhere. There you are. And once again, remember this line up here, we want to line up with that high. And be careful when you're dragging. If you click on any of your lines, you're going to pull your Gann box unless you lock them. So after you set it, it's not a terrible idea to lock it. Just remember one thing is that whenever this, so if for instance this first red Gann box, when it was laid, whenever price reaches this last line right here on November 10th of 2020, just know that that cycle has ended and expect some significant price movement to happen. But you can also take this red Gann box, clone it, set it exactly side by side with it, and continue on with the price, because it will still respect the same exact lines that were set. So we just laid our third one from this low up to this high. Now the problem that we have here is that this doesn't match up, so we need to set that. And that looks good. Come back once again, Gann box, once you have the first Gann box squared fix set, just be careful moving it around. You don't want to zoom in and out until you have your Gann box set up. So once again, 3 squares. So this is the first square, second square. We're going to set this up here in the third square. This is the third Gann box we've laid off of the swings. So this is going to be yellow. So we have red, yellow, red, orange, yellow. And now you're probably like, holy crap, how do you even read this? Because there's so many lines. And don't worry about that, because once again, we're on the daily chart. So this is a big high overview. Also shows that we got some room here. Bitcoin's in kind of this little pocket where it can kind of do, it could come up here and touch, 11,170, or it can, come down to this corner here and decide what it's going to do at $9,300. So let's take a look further, right? So I'm just going to lock all of these just in case, so if I don't grab something accidentally and drag it around. It's your choice what you'd like to do. Alright, so now that those are all locked, let's take a closer look here. And I like dropping down to the 144 minute. And this is how you know whether you got this right. It's based on how price is reacting. So as we can see, it's squeezed into here, pops up. Does it break above? It's trying to, falls under, but doesn't touch. If it doesn't touch that support line, we're going to come back up and test higher, which we did. Came through, tapped on this, didn't break through, came across, didn't break through, came up, broke through all of this resistance right here, touched, but didn't close above. That's what you're looking for, is a close above for continuation. If it doesn't happen, we're going back down. But also notice that a lot happened when all these lines start to come together. Usually it's significant for price. Something happens at these, Kessler calls them, what's he call them? I call them gravity points. I don't remember what he calls them off the top of my head. But as you can see, I mean, this is crazy. So that daily chart looks like, oh, this is nuts. How you even read this? But when you zoom down into the minutia, you'll notice surgical touches everywhere. So you're like, great, now I know things are going to be touching certain lines as it's going along, but are there any other things that can help me with this? So I'm going to pull this up right here. This is what Kessler uses also on his. I'm going to show you the indicators he uses, but he also uses a moving average band. He has a simple moving average of 21 days or 21 periods, a small moving average of 50 periods, and EMA, or an exponential moving average of 144 periods, and then a simple moving average of 200. So those are the bands that he uses to also help determine where you're at in the trend. Remember, moving averages are a lagging indicator, so we can't just use that 100%. We need other things too, which I'm going to show you what else he uses. But if you do want to follow him, that is his Trading View ID, so you're welcome to follow him there. So what do you think? That looks badass to you? When I saw this, I was like, man, this is unbelievable. I mean, look at that. It just stopped, whoop, right back up, but didn't touch. So that means we're coming back down, and it bounce. So, I mean, it's just craziness. Once again, look what all those intersections happened. What happened right there? Pretty much a low got put in, and it went back up. Had another pivot here. What happened? We went back down. So there's there's a lot to look at here, and I highly recommend you playing with this and figuring out how you can best utilize this system. But it is pretty powerful. All right, indicators. What you're looking for on TradingView. Come on, TradingView, show me. There we go. So you're going to want two of them. The first one is the RSI Snabble. You can get this from Snabble, SCH. It looks like 3 underscores. Currently it has about 3,000 to 4,000 likes. And then you can look at the source code. So if for some reason these guys get deplatformed, or TradingView doesn't like their script, or somehow they post a link accidentally and the script gets ripped, grab the source code and just save it. But make sure you give people credit for the work that they do. But this is the tool or an indicator that you can add to yours to help with the RSI and the EMA of the RSI tied together. It gives you kind of like a stronger RSI reading than just the regular old stuff. So he uses that. I recommend adding that on there. So I'm going to click that. And then he also uses from Lone Star 108. It's got 11 to 12,000 likes. It's called the Wave Trend with Crosses, Lazy Bear. Once again, he also shares his code. Make sure you give people credit for the work they do, but save it in case you need it, because you can always add it to your chart that way if for some reason they get deplatformed, removed, etc. But we'll go back and add that, and there we go. So now you'll start to notice something a little bit different. We're still on the 144 minute chart, and as we come in here and look closer, you'll start to notice on this bottom indicator you have green and red dots that show up, which are buy and sell signals that are generated. And once they're generated, they'll light the candle up with a yellow if it's a buy and a white if it's a sale. So as you come in here closer, you'll see the whites and the reds. Now, this is not a be-all, end-all indicator. You can't just be like, oh yeah, sure, let's buy this because it's just triggering. I'd look for other ways to confirm that. Make sure you use that the moving averages band that he uses. That'll also show you where price should be with those average periods. Is the price above those MAs? Are the MAs in line? Is there some crossing happening? Well, you need to analyze those other things. It's just not a end all be all system. So also look at this. Your RSI is coming up. So you get a sell signal and it's sold off. Come back. You get a buy signal. Your RSI has come down, has cooled off, and buy signals generated. Did we break the line? Yes. We closed above the line? Absolutely. So that could have been a trade you took right there and followed it up here. Now when it had that next buy signal, once again the RSIs are topped out on both of them. So I would have probably ignored that one and looked for the sale to happen. Whenever you start to see it curling down, that's when you want to start getting out of it before it comes down and kills your profits that you've taken off the trade. And that is if you trade this. Obviously, the higher the time frame you go up, the more profitable it will be, because you're not trading as much and you're not catching these little moves or waves that are happening. So what did I miss, or what did I not cover? I think that's it for this one. If I can think of anything else, I'll make sure to either make an addendum to it or put something in the notes somewhere where you can find that information. Once again, I want to give a huge shout out to Ed, or the Kessler syndrome. He's a great guy, and I'm very, very humbled that he took the time to share this with me. I saw some of the charts he was posting in our room, and I was just like, man, that is just too busy. Too busy for me. And whenever I dug deeper into it, boy, that was well worth it. Let me see if I can find his Twitter right quick. There he is. At THC_drummer. That's the guy you want. At THC_drummer. Ed Aguilar. Sorry if I mispronounced that. But that's the guy you want to follow on Twitter. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you found it informative. And I'll catch you in another video. Have a good one.